Oh, yeah. All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's please call the meeting to order and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. No, no. Well, we have to. Oh, yes, yes, please. Or do we need to excuse or?
Yes.
Yes.
I make the motion to excuse Jennifer Grosachnik and Pablo Flynn from tonight's open session.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor to accept Jennifer's resignation as board president? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, we'll see. All right. Well, it's like the summer meeting. Okay. All right. Dr. Macy, please proceed with your remarks.
Good evening, Ladue Schools community. I am truly honored to serve as your next superintendent. As I facilitate my first board meeting in this role, I want to publicly thank the Board of Education for this incredible opportunity. You've been incredibly supportive throughout this process. Thank you. To many, summer may seem like a slower time than the school year, but it's quite the opposite. June is incredibly busy as our team begins planning and working toward the upcoming school year. The moment students head into summer break, we begin our planning for next year and getting our facilities ready and underway. We currently have several projects going, including repaving the high school's north parking lot and installing a turf play area at Conway Elementary. Tonight, we will discuss our field options at Ladue Middle School as we move forward with the relocation of the admin center. This is an incredibly exciting time as we continue to put our students first by developing a multi-purpose weatherproof playing field to support our growing middle school activities and athletics programs. It's incredibly exciting to see this project evolve as we have been discussing the project for the better part of this school year. I want to give a shout out to our staff who are busy cleaning, waxing, and preparing all of our facilities for the return of our students in August. June also signifies setting the vision for the year ahead. I want to thank the board for a very productive board retreat and our cabinet for not only participating in our leadership retreats, but also planning an incredible 2-day summer institute for all of our district administrators. Lastly, I want to congratulate Ms. Keisha Lee on being named MSBA president. It was an honor to be present for her first official address at the MSBA Summer Summit. We look forward to supporting you throughout your term, and we thank you for elevating Ladue's voice at the state level as we continue to navigate these challenging times for public education. While we look forward to slowing down a bit in July, we remain fully committed to being ready for a fantastic 26-27 school year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Macy, and congratulations again. And congratulations to Keisha, yes. At this time, are there any board committee or school liaison reports? Okay. I think this is perhaps my last one as school liaison to Reed. So I had the pleasure last night of being at Busch Stadium for Reed night, and our students sang the national anthem, and the Cardinals almost came back in the 9th, so the national anthem remains the high point. However, and right now we will move on to public comment. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none. We will now move on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is there a motion, sorry, that was consent agenda. Look at us flying through here. All right. Action items. Preliminary budget review, Dr. Macy.
All right, thank you again, board. This is where I'm most comfortable from, but I will certainly develop the comfort in that chair from up there, but the screen needs to get a little bit bigger. Thank you for approving the consent agenda. It had several budget transfers in there, as well as invoices exceeding $50,000. I do want to note that the district does not meet in July by design to provide some downtime, but we are committed to getting everything ready and continuing that process, but that also contributes to a lengthy consent agenda at the June board meeting. Our preliminary budget, this is the third reading of the preliminary budget, and numbers have shifted a little bit, but nothing significant. We will talk through some variants this year that are somewhat unique or don't typically occur on an annual basis when we look at our revenues as we move throughout the presentation. The foundation of the 26-27 preliminary budget is the 25-26 projections. So this provides us an opportunity to look at where we believe that we will finish June. I do want to add that these numbers could change slightly. School districts pay their employees 3 times in June, so we do have one more payroll that will be paid out. Those numbers could shift just a little bit, but we do believe that we are well within that 0.5% of where we believe that we're going to finish. So this year, our revenues came in approximately $78.1 million, and our expenditures were $80.2. Now, on this slide, there appears to be a $2.1 million deficit. What I would say is that this year, we moved a portion of the capital levy into capital projects to begin collecting revenue for the admin center. So even though Fund 1 and 2 shows that deficit of $2.1 million, we actually exceeded our revenues from our expenditures by almost $8 million this year. So with that money living in Fund 4 so that we can apply it to capital programs in the future, the admin center, the field that we're going to discuss tonight, that still leaves our DESE reported fund balance at $33.8 million, which is 42.16% of our expenditures. So we are still in exceptionally healthy shape. As that rolls into the preliminary budget, we take that balance from the bottom there, put it at the top. That is our starting point. If we move into the next budget cycle, anticipating a 10-cent capital levy as part of our 275, we are projecting next year's expenditures at $83.1 million and a $2.6 million surplus. So if we do indeed finish in that position, that will provide us some flexibility. Where we have not made those capital transfers in the last 2 years, we do have some flexibility to move money into capital if we believe that makes the most sense at the end of next year's budget cycle.
And sorry, Dr. Macy, for that optional capital transfer, does that still sit at, is it 1.7% and about there?
So it is 1.7%, which is the 7% transfer that DESE allows us to do, but DESE also provides us flexibility in moving our classroom trust funds, our M&M surtax, so we do have some flexibility with some other revenue sources as well. But it's nice to have those funds as an opportunity. If you remember 3 years ago, Ladue had not made those transfers at all. DESE allowed us to go back 5 years, make those transfers, and complete much-needed capital projects for our students, such as the windows at Reed and Conway, the parking lot, the FGC reconfiguration. So it really has provided us the flexibility to continue that capital program beyond Prop L.
Thank you.
So when we look at our revenues, and there's a slide that's going to break down the percentages, but we are heavily locally funded. This year, today, in fact, there was an email chain going around. So the county has experienced significant change, and the county is responsible for processing tax revenues and issuing those payments to school districts. When I first came to Ladue 5 years ago, our local tax collection was at about 94%. This year is one of those years. Our local tax collection, our projection is right now 95%. Meaning that 5% of our local taxes didn't transpire, didn't come in. The county has changed software programs, so our revenue has been running a month late. So we'll continue to track that to see if we have any significant increase to our revenues in July. Again, we don't anticipate that, but it's a possibility. The other thing that we would look into as well is what is that recoupment potential in terms of what does that recoupment calculation look like. So we will continue to work with the county. The majority of the St. Louis County school districts are 2 to 3% below right now what they normally have as their collection rate. So Ladue is not alone in this. So we will have some opportunities to collaborate with our colleagues and peers across St. Louis County to determine where those funds are and where those opportunities are. Prop C is sales tax. So 24-25, we finished at $6.1 million. We're currently projecting, just under that 6.1. We can't rule out an uptick at the end, but we're going to be close to where we were last year. Going into next year's budget cycle, we are budgeting a little bit conservatively. We also don't really know what's going to happen with the elimination of income tax being on the ballot and the idea that property taxes now could be assessed to different services where they weren't previously assessed, or what that revenue is going to look like, whether or not it's going to be calculated as Prop C should it transpire. So we are a little bit conservative there. The thing with Prop C is DESE provides us a calculation, but DESE also only distributes what they collect. So if DESE said we're going to have 6.3 million, but they only receive 5.9, then that number would come down. So that's an area that we'll revisit in January. Transportation is where we're going to see our biggest cut in terms of funding. We asked the governor to approve a budget to fully fund transportation. This occurred 4 years ago. I would say that we kept that opportunity significantly longer than I ever anticipated. But transportation is one of those costs that I would say it's going to go up every year by 7 to 8%. And when you look at the cost of fuel, or you look at the idea that, we're adjusting contracts to maintain and support and keep bus drivers, it's certainly an area that we're going to have to keep an eye on from an expense perspective. So it is disheartening to see that cut to that transportation budget. But historically, that has been the first budget cut whenever there has been a budget crisis. Formula Classroom Trust, Ladue is hold harmless. The calculation has changed to not just include average daily attendance, but to also include membership. But we have been relatively consistent at that $2 million mark, and that's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this year. So the projection there for 25-26 is currently low right now. We are still waiting on one more DESE payment. We just didn't want to put that in there until we actually receive that funding. So we would make any adjustment if we receive additional funds there in January.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Macy, for the last one, for the Formula Class Trust. By membership, you just mean enrollment?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So a couple of years ago, DESE changed the calculation and said we want to incorporate membership. So I think this year it was a 90-10. It's going to move to a 50-50. So school districts who have weaker attendance or have lower attendance rates will see a bump or an increase in their state funding based off of tying that membership in there. What I would say about Ladue is as a hold harmless district, we receive an equivalent amount to what we received in 2005 and 2006. So based off of our formula and our calculation, when you deduct our local effort, it would take us below that amount. So the formula says we're not gonna take any of our hold harmless school districts below that 2005, 2006 number.
Okay, thank you.
So revenue by source, Ladue is 94.7 locally funded, 3.7% from a state, and then our federal is not even 1%, and neither is our county. So as we begin moving into next year and coming out of this past legislative session, this will be another area that we'll continue to focus on. We'll advocate, and we will provide data and information to Jefferson City as needed as we move into the next legislative cycle. Our expenditures from an operating perspective, salaries and benefits, you can see that 2 years ago we were at 58.6. This year we believe we're going to finish right at 60.4. Going into next year, we're projecting 63.3. Now, this does include additional FTEs to support the counseling department. We added additional safety personnel, but this also does include the implementation of the negotiated salaries that the board approved for the LEA this past fall. So with that being said, I know that the board approved an opportunity for us to move the parameters from the 2.7 to the 4.5, and we truly appreciate that as an opportunity to attract and retain highly qualified staff. Purchase services are a little bit misleading. Our 25, 26 projections are higher than what our 26, 27 budget cycle is. This is because of billing. We received a couple bills late at the beginning of this fiscal year, from our substitute service provider, from our transportation provider, and from our custodial provider. We are able to operate within the phase 4 parameters by paying those bills. So instead of holding on to bills until the next fiscal year, we're going to go ahead and catch up, but we're also going to implement some internal controls with our vendors and enforce some of those late billing policies that they have in their contracts, because we don't want to get in the cycle of paying bills and carrying that over from one fiscal year to the next. So we do think that next year's purchase services will be in that 13.1 range. Supplies are a little bit higher than what we would anticipate, but I would also add that half of our utilities are factored in as supplies. So the Missouri Accounting Manual requires certain services to be calculated as purchase services, so we have some utilities in there, but we also have some utilities in our supply category. So utilities are definitely an area that we're going to need to continue to work with Mike and his department to understand if there's any potential for efficiencies. So we did bump that up quite a bit, but again, we are operating within the parameters. And then we move into our capital budget, 25, 26. We believe we're going to finish around 11 million. The preliminary budget calls for 12.7. In that 12.7 number, we have the rest of the high school parking lot, which is finished. So if you parked on the north side, you see that fresh paving and fresh paint. The West Campus tennis courts and fields, we still have a little bit of work there. Conway, I would encourage you to go by Conway because they are moving right along with redefining that space. And I will tell you, it is so small. When you look at that area and just how Conway is landlocked, so I know that the Conway community is very excited about having that weatherproof play surface. And then we're also anticipating beginning work on the admin center. So we're going to talk about the field tonight, which would be the immediate work. We don't anticipate the actual admin center work occurring until second semester in the spring. I hope that I have that timeline right. But we want to put that money in the budget so that it's there and accessible when that work begins. So our preliminary budget, Fund 1 and 2, Ladue is indicative of every other public school, and the primary investment of resources is in people. So we look at our certified salaries, our non-certified salaries, and our medical and fringe benefits, and that is the majority of our budget. And I would say that purchase services are part of that continuum, because purchase services are the services that we need to support our staff and students on a daily basis, but we do that with partner vendors as opposed to our own Ladue staff. So again, I commend this Board of Education on investing the resources where it makes the difference and where it really supports all of our students and our community. So this is just a recap of some of those expenses in the budget from a capital perspective. So we don't have a ton of work. We didn't have a ton of work left here at the high school. The fifth grade center, again, we don't have a significant amount of work to finish that. Conway Turf, we approved that at the last board meeting, and that budget is $835,000. And for the admin center / field budget, we're going to go ahead and include $7 million as part of that project at this point in time.
So, just for the fifth grade center, for the tennis courts, has there been any update with the repairs?
I can get that and send that out through the weekend update or email. I'll talk to Mike and we'll get that information to you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. This is the third reading of the budget, so for those listening online, I don't want anybody to think this was an expedited version. I appreciate the board's involvement, the due diligence, and reviewing everything, and for suffering through 3 different presentations of the same budget. So thank you.
No, Dr. Macy, thank you to you and to your team as well, and then for everyone throughout the district. I know that this is, it's a very comprehensive document that a lot of people contributed to. So
real quick before you vote, I do want to say, and it's an interesting evening because it's a lot of firsts, I did forget to publicly thank Barb Myers in the business office. I've been in the role of business and finance for 13 years, and I'm going to say that there is no better business department. It is a group of highly qualified individuals, and I have truly appreciated their support in that capacity and look forward to working with them in a different capacity.
Thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 preliminary budget as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Keisha with the first, Amy with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Dr. Macy. Okay. And, well, we now, Dr. Crabtree, Mrs. Wagstaff, okay.
I am going to give a update overview of the policies that were presented back in May. Seems like so long ago. So the overview, MSBA 2026 update provides streamlined, combined policies to improve board operations and effectiveness. Driven by feedback from the annual conference workshop, these revisions clarify delegate structures, committee formation, meeting minutes, policy adoption, and advocacy framework. In a nutshell, we are advising to move forward with MSBA's policies. There are 3 that are being rescinded, and that's because the information is in other policies that have been presented. The only one that isn't, it's policy IA. They are in 4 different policies that were not in this update.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the 2026A policy updates as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And now, Mr. Noonan with an LMS field update.
We also have Rick Keisker from Cordigan and Clark that's going to support us in this. So Mike and Rick.
Thank you. Glad to be here tonight, and congratulations, Dr. Macy and Tisha, on your new positions. Look forward to working with you in your new capacities. So yeah, we're here tonight to present the bids that we received for the North Field. We had 2 design options. One was option B, which is basically putting in a synthetic turf field in approximately its current configuration. The other option would be to rotate it more parallel with the tennis courts, and that's what we're calling option A, and then there's a grass area off to the right-hand side. So we received 4 bids. One bid unfortunately came in late. We were not able to accept that bid. It was about 10 minutes after the bids were due. One of the bids, going through the interview process that we did afterwards, there are several qualifications in the bid documents that that bidder did not meet. So we have 2 qualified bids, Burns & Jones and Nationwide. You can see the numbers there for what the bids are for each option A and option B. In addition, there were 4 different artificial turfs that we had them bid. And after going through everything and discussing this with everyone at the school district, our recommendation is to go forward with Burns & Jones as the most qualified low bid, with potentially option B, using the Shaw Powerhouse Shaw Sports Turf, I'm sorry, which was bid type T3 that we had them bid. So happy to answer any questions you may have at this point.
Thank you. I do want to add that the board has talked about this for quite some time, and you know, the one option A would be to push the field up against the tennis courts and provide an opportunity for future growth. Those bids came in really high. So we did look at the other option of overlaying the existing footprint, because it really does make sense. The intent, I think, that we were trying to achieve was to provide that weatherproof, reliable play space for our middle school students. You know, putting it in that footprint doesn't provide an opportunity for growth in that north area. but we would have the opportunity in the future to look at a field next to the proposed admin center if we do decide we want to do that.
And I guess one of the things I also just wanted to highlight, and I appreciate the work that went into it, was looking at that, I guess, additional field that would have been accommodated along, or I guess adjacent to the full-side field that we would pivot, is that it technically would not be big enough for any mission-compliant sports, whether football, soccer, lacrosse, or field hockey. So it, you know, still, and the space is still there, but it would then just be natural grass rather than kind of being set aside and leveled out, so.
Correct.
And this is the comprehensive cost for, I guess, for that whole project?
Yes,
The-
they're either option A, option B, it includes everything, includes the civil, the grading, and the artificial turf field itself.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there any other questions?
I had a question about, could you give us I apologize if you've told us this, but could you give us an idea of the timing of this project? Like, moving
Yeah,
forward,
we're
let's say we
working- We're
approve?
working through getting final approvals with MSD, hoping that would finish up in sometime in July potentially, but we're looking at potentially being completed sometime in November.
Okay, thank you.
Once we engage the actual contractor, we'll nail down a more, I think in our documents, we're saying completion is supposed to be done November the 1st.
Okay, thank you.
And does this include, I mean, if the desire was ever there for a scoreboard or anything else that just sort of helps maximize usage of the space?
Yes, we do, we are including, there's a scoreboard that's out there now, so it would and actually it would stay in the same place with option B. And then there's some netting that's installed on each end of the field and some fencing that goes around the field itself as well.
Okay. All right, and that's all included in the 2.53?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you, and this is, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm seeing
I
this
make a
correctly.
motion to adopt option B as presented.
Is there a second?
Oh, for Burns and
Or,
Jones.
sorry, yeah. Vernon Jones bid for $1.253 million for option B, type 3 turf. So a motion introduced by Keisha. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Marissa. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Noonan as well, custodial services.
Hi.
We bid out the custodial services for the district. We did a pre-bid tour and meeting. We had 14 firms attend. We had 7 present qualified bids. And of those 7 bid qualified bids, we narrowed it down to 4. And those 4 contractors were interviewed by our committee that we put together. We have board members on the committee, principals, people that actually do a lot of work with the custodial work at my level. And as we progressed through the process, it appeared that our ABM Industries was the most qualified. They seem to really focus on the quality of the people and how they're going to get people and retain them, which is the majority of the issue that we have with the custodial services. So at the end of the day, we'd like to recommend ABM Industries for $2,077,109, and they did score the highest on the matrix that we put together as part of the committee.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I just want to thank Mike and his team for putting together a comprehensive process. This is not a process that the district takes lightly. It also took quite a bit of time. I also want to thank our board members that participated. I think that it shows the investment from everyone involved within the Ladue School District and the commitment to keep our buildings clean. I think that ABM brought to light the idea that they truly want to partner with the district, and they want to partner with the district in terms of providing that quality service and also being held accountable. So I was really impressed with ABM's idea to meet with the RFP committee on a quarterly basis to discuss the level of cleaning in the building. And then Dr. Helm also brought up that we're going to bring some teacher voice in there too. So we're going to include a representative from the LEA. So keeping the facilities clean and ideal for students is everybody's responsibility, and I really appreciated their partnership approach in meeting with everyone.
Thank you. I echo that, and also thank you to my board colleagues who were there to support that process as well. Unless there are any questions, is there a motion to approve ABM Industries as the district custodial services provider for 3 years?
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, moving on, Corrigan and Clark pay application. Dr. Macy, you are back up.
All right, so our last item of the evening is Corrigan Clark pay application. This will serve as the placeholder for the LMS field as well as any of the administrative work. I do want to point out that the school board is very forward-thinking, and I go back to Prop L, where the board really mapped out that planning and designed all of the future-ready spaces before we even went out to a vote for the proposition. So we are in similar position. Corrigan Clark has advanced pretty far along in the design, and they're working with the ARB board. They're working with the city of Ladue. We're committed to working with our community members that live in proximity to the admin center. But Corrigan Clark has done an immense amount of work to really get us ready to move into next year, where the construction is really going to start happening, and those decisions are going to be made. So this is a spot for the Corrigan Clark pay app. I would recommend that the board approve the Corrigan Clark pay application for $166,500.61.
You got it. All right.
So moved.
Second.
That's 61.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. All right, reaching the end of our meeting, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right. All right. Jennifer doesn't use it. Thank you. It just sits there.